In the final desperate years of the Second World War, the oceans had become a battlefield dominated by Allied power. German U-boats, once feared hunters of the Atlantic, were now hunted themselves. Shipyards were bombed, crews were lost, and time was running out. Faced with overwhelming odds, German engineers turned to radical ideas. Among them was a small, almost fragile machine, a weapon born from urgency and desperation. Its name was Biber, German for beaver. Unlike the massive submarines that once crossed entire oceans, the Biber was tiny, barely 9 meters long, just large enough for one man, one mission, and almost no margin for error. Built quickly, cheaply, and in large numbers, it represented a new kind of naval warfare. Stealth attacks launched from the coast, aimed at disrupting Allied shipping. Inside the Biber, there was no crew to rely on, no room for comfort, just a single operator, sealed within a narrow steel hull. He was pilot, navigator, engineer, and weapons officer, all at once. The cockpit was small and claustrophobic. Gauges crowded every inch of space. Visibility was limited to a tiny viewing dome. Hours passed in silence, broken only by the hum of engines and the constant awareness of danger. For many operators, often young and only briefly trained, this was their first and last mission. On the surface, the Biber used a gasoline engine, but once submerged, it switched to an electric motor, allowing it to move silently through the water. In theory, it could approach enemy ships unseen, strike, and disappear into the darkness. Mounted on each side were 2 torpedoes, powerful enough to cripple large vessels. The mission seemed simple: move under cover of night, launch the attack, and escape. But reality was far harsher. The small submarines struggled in rough seas. Mechanical failures were common. Navigation in darkness and bad weather was extremely difficult. Toxic fumes from the engine could fill the cockpit. Oxygen levels dropped during long dives. And Allied patrols constantly searched the waters above. Many Bibers never reached their targets. Some were lost to storms before even leaving coastal waters. Others were detected and destroyed. For the men inside, survival depended on skill, luck, and sometimes sheer endurance. Despite these challenges, Bibers were deployed along the coasts of Western Europe, including operations in and around the Netherlands. Launched from beaches and small harbours, they represented Germany's attempt to continue fighting even as defeat drew closer. Today, the Biber stands as a symbol of innovation born from desperation. It reflects both the determination to keep fighting and the harsh realities faced by those sent into increasingly dangerous missions during the final stages of the war. But beyond the steel and machinery lies a human story, one of isolation, fear, and resilience. Imagine sitting alone inside this narrow hull, the cold pressing through the metal, the darkness outside, the knowledge that every sound could reveal your position, and the long hours spent navigating toward an unseen enemy. Few of these submarines survived the war. Those that remain are rare witnesses to an unusual chapter of naval history, reminders of how technology evolves in times of crisis, and how individuals were placed at the center of immense historical forces. Museums today preserve these machines not to glorify war, but to help us understand it, to show the reality behind the engineering and the human experience behind the missions. Because when you stand beside a Biber, its small size is striking. You realize just how little space separated its operator from the sea around him, and how extraordinary the demands were on those who entered it. And if you would like to experience this unique piece of history for yourself, you can visit the Overloon War Museum, where a German Biber is part of the collection, offering a rare opportunity to see one of these remarkable one-man submarines up close, and to reflect on the stories it carries from a turbulent past.